a 5D mystic is a person who's a functional adult, so they have emotional maturity with our 6 basic human emotions. And that means they also have a restorative embodied self experience, so they know everything's going to be okay. That means they also have integration of the brain, so they use their left and right mode, and that's why they're emotionally mature. So unlike those who are in 4D, 3D body types is what I call it, but really it's not a fixed deal here, but it's a way of mindset. So monkey mindset, doll mindset, butterfly mindset, one focus, and then there's the enamored with oneself mindset. So the 4D, 3D body type are not aligned yet with that heaven in the body because they're not yet in a restorative embodied self. So their thought process works with anger as their threat emotion response unless they have a array and relationship with all of the other emotions as well. But in the case of what I've seen, the rumination, so thinking in terms of karma, so likes, dislikes, sanctified, non-sanctified, adoptive child. So not integration of the mind, structural dissociation, which means the emotions from the charged states when they were children and then growing up, because we all have these charged states. Thank you, good trauma-informed experts, therapists, and the entire mental health community who has been updating. All of YouTube has plenty of free content, including our lovely Patrick Tiahan, who is a childhood trauma survivor, a therapist, and as he shares, there are many times individuals will not know that their reactivity is because of not having either the work, so if they're not with a therapist, or they just don't know about it. Like if you wake up in the morning and you're like, I'm going to get my coworker at work, not just that, but there's a series of events and ways that a person who still has childhood trauma and or charged states that are not being handled by your higher self. So we all have a higher self, which is the adult version of you. This higher self is your cortex with your limbic system with your brainstem. You can do neurofeedback. And so 5D body types, we, without even knowing it, do what is called integration of the brain. Our left mode is our chit chatter. Our right mode is where we get to have those emotions. The right mode of our brain develops in the first year of life and is the only part that is online. If we get secure attachment, it's good to go for our empathy and emotional body. If we don't, then we have what is ashamed effectiveness. And that's what is something to keep in mind for my lovely functional adults. That's why the Zen masters, which are 5D mystics in the Enlightenment Soul Age group, it's important, our compassion beyond a reason. So people who have not moved into integration of the brain and restorative embodied self, when they're in their adaptive child emotional response, they are actually in a harsh and rigid brain, because the right mode is where you get the sensations that are uncomfortable, the immature charges. And that's where, instead of being a person who harnesses your physical, energetic, mental body, that's where you begin to have that heaven in the body. Yoga practitioners know about this. Ayurveda practitioners know about it. Anybody who's understood the relationship between human, spiritual, and spirituality elements, which is what we do on the IHP community. We talk about things in terms of your human experience. There doesn't have to be the word spiritual or spirituality, but we are mystics, so I came into knowingness of terms such as clairs because I have them. Astral travel. But unlike 4D, who lives in the bandwidth of sci-fi basically and has created a bunch of disruption and continues to do so, karmics, third parties, they talk about the devil and evil. We don't believe in the devil or evil. Evil, if there's anything, it's a scale by forensic criminologists, and they're all people that could make use of a good therapy and more, like long-term therapy, because their brain and their body could use somebody who can help them get out of dysregulation, modulation, to dissolve the shame, defectiveness, torturous, heartbreak, gut-wrench, tsunami feeling. They have an actual way to heal. It's called compassion-based therapy, because in a physiological state of compassion, 5D body type, mind type, we're never angry. We can get sad, that's the other threat emotion, and we can get anxious, that's the other threat emotion. These two don't have certainty like anger does. Anger, instead, in the brain, when a person's in anger and they're ruminating, they're doing inner critic, outer critic. Then they're going to deny through activities that become addictive, compulsive, drugs, sex, alcohol, food. Let me hide out in my room and play video games, but think about the hero, villain, rescue journey. And I don't actually actively do something out in the real world, but I sit in a charge that is in a biochemistry of fear, because rumination may feel good while somebody's playing war in their head, meaning I'm going to do something great, And obviously that's not really great to think about, but I see plenty of people thinking they're Darth Vader or something, and these are adult people. And I mean, I know I don't know all 8 billion people, but just saying, like, if you're an adult and you're still thinking you're Darth Vader and you're making up some story, it's like, wow, what are you thinking in your brain? And they actually share, they think about things that are imagination land. Imagination, neuroplasticity agent. And that's where there's bright and dark sides to neuroplasticity. So people who don't move into functional adulthood, they stay in their harsh and rigid thinking, and they don't really recognize codependent relationships. I want to change you. I want to take care of you. That's an adaptive child. So emotionally speaking, that's not grown-up relationships. You're not my parent. I'm not my parent. I'm my person. You're your person. And here's where, for the full moon, the lovely 5D mystics do not have the same relationship of universe, source, give me something. Okay? This is where it's different. It's a process, and it's a beautiful one, to emotionally and mentally mature oneself. You're walking that path. Right now, we have about 30%. That's what I'm feeling of the collective of 5D inclined. 4D's doing their thing. 3D's doing their thing. Other soul age groups are also doing their thing. And this isn't a competition, and this is how we organize information. If you need explanations, let me know, but they're not categories. It's words that mean something, because an Enlightenment soul age group person is in Dharma. They know how to be independent with information. There's no subject matter expertise or expert or book for that matter that we're going to be like, yes, this is the law of everything. No, even the physics law thing is like, yeah, okay. But we're not like the flat earthers or people who negate scientific methodology. No, actually, it's very much appreciated. That's why we know there's no evil in the body of people. There's no demon or devil. So, on that note, the addictive behaviors, compulsive behaviors, when there are people who have insecure attachment, 4D, 3D body types, people who have dysregulated or modulated, they're not going to have a relationship with their in-depth emotions. A 5D person in the Enlightenment soul age group, a mystic, or 5D and other soul age groups is going to not be engaging in-depth building with people who can't navigate the energy spectrum, because they're living a Krishna, Leela, Shiva, Kali body, mind, all experience, and they're consistently on a high. Others, instead, they ruminate, they go up and down, and so they're really more about, humans or parasites or something like that, and that's really not nice. So it's very offensive to us, the human species. And essentially, the healing that took place from about the end of August, no, it's now the end of August, from about July, there's been a couple of very important events. So right now, the people who have said yes to being their self, Purusha Prakriti, pure unconditional love and awareness of you as a person, Prakriti, your energy body, pure energy. This is where you are restorative embodied self, integrated brain, or at the very least you know how to be here. Now, yoga, great portfolio of ventral vagal nervous system toning exercises, mindfulness to sit in your cortex, mind sight, to sift through your sensations, images, thoughts, and feelings with inner reflection. We do inner growth mindset. And so on that note, on this lovely full moon, you're not really thinking about anything, because what you're doing is knowing what you've healed from those adaptive child unresolved trauma. The addictive patterns are because of safety behaviors / maladaptive responses, behaviors, trauma, unresolved. So whether it was drinking or smoking or wasting time in a room, whatever it was, there's the awareness for the 5D person, functional adult, of wanting to build meaningful, secure connections, secure attachment relationships, to be their own safe haven, secure base. And this lovely 30% is ready to embark on journeys to share also with humanity at large how to talk about important topics with equanimity, because mature emotions does that. We respectfully agree to disagree. We can do shit and then hug it out. That's what self-empowerment is. So self-empowerment with enlightenment is, again, very basic human 101, bringing it to the streets, bringing it to your family, bringing it to all. And we don't react when we're meeting the adaptive child who uses harsh, unforgiving, or weaponizes words. We know that in front of us we have a person who is hurt. They just don't know it, and it's not by pointing it out. They have the ability to hurt people, can do work if they get into informed trauma, good stuff, not the ones who tell them their emotions don't mean anything, because that's meaning you're not going to learn about your nervous system or your embodied brain, basically. And again, the full moon, beautiful for all of those of us who have chosen love and not fear. Be supportive, be compassionate. It's not easy for those who are not aware of themselves yet as a person. And be back for more.